Welcome, beautiful souls, to Healing Mindset, the space where awareness becomes transformation. I am Nazish, your host, a lover of conscious conversation and the gentle art of inner being. And if you have ever sat in meditation and wondered, am I doing this right? Or found mindfulness hard to maintain amid daily life, this conversation is for you. Today, I am joined by Blair Abee, an author, poet, and a self described ordinary mystic. Through his five best selling books, Blair has helped thousands of people rediscover peace, presence, and personal power. Together, we will explore meditation not as an escape from life, but as a way of being fully present within it. Welcome to the show, Blair.
Thank you. I've been looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, definitely. So, Blair, you often describe yourself as an ordinary mystic. I love that phrase. It is so grounding and approachable. Could you please share with our listeners what does it really mean and how mindfulness became a part of your everyday life?
Yes. Um, so, a mystic, to my way of thinking, is somebody who seeks and finds spiritual understanding,
Mhm.
spiritual ideas, spiritual. mm, Um, and I think that there, throughout history, many people who have done that, and they've brought their ideas, their understanding, back to the community. Um, so I don't see myself as a guru or anything like that, but instead, um, someone who has sought for um, spiritual understanding and then written about it. As you've said, I've written 5 books on the subject of mindfulness, manifestation, uh, meditation, um, making soul contact, and I think that's what I have to offer. Is the idea that you, we, I, we are eternal beings, and that in addition to being human beings, we are eternal beings occupying these amazingly complicated biomechanical vehicles in a lifetime, um, and that the spiritual side of us, the the eternal being side, the higher consciousness side, is available to us. Uh, with meditation, I think being the most direct path to discovering that for those people who are interested in such things. Some people are interested, some people are not interested at all. Um, but uh, that the in the imprisoned splendor, as was said by a poet, lies within and is available to those who seek. And that's what I have done. And that's what I suggest others who are interested in such things do for themselves.
Okay, that is so beautifully said. I think many of us are searching for that blend of mystical and everyday.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, was there a particular moment when stillness spoke louder than everything else around you? Something that shifted you, how you lived or saw yourself?
Yes. About 10 years ago, let me back up. I've been doing yoga and meditation for 40 years. Um, and had done that as just part of my daily life. I'd learned to do that in San Francisco, many years ago, and it was just part of my, routine. But about 10 years ago, I took a significant promotion. I moved to San Diego, only to find myself, um, with a boss who was a psychopath. I mean, she was abusing employees, she was misusing funds, she was running the program into the ground. Um, And I revealed, or I did a whistleblow on that, and and it told people higher up that there was a problem and it needed to be looked at. Well, the situation was looked at. They fired her, but they also fired me because they said that I was a troublemaker. Well, I suppose that in a way I was. I did make trouble for them to expose the fact that they weren't paying attention to the problem. Um, and that just changed my whole life. I mean, my career trajectory, my income, my ego, was hugely bruised by that situation. And as a result, I took a deep dive into my meditation practice for therapy and started doing journaling, what I might call now spiritual journaling. Um, at night, I would just write about what was occurring and my thoughts and my feelings and so forth and so on for therapy. And at some point, there was a shift. At some point, what began to happen is this sense of flow of spirit through my fingers and onto the screen. Um, Understandings, and this is part of the mysticism that I was speaking of. Understandings began to occur to me. I would read what I wrote later, and it was if, wow, that's amazing. I didn't know I even had that in me. Um, and after about 150,000 words, I realized that I had material for books, and that was the beginning of my writing career because I had no real intention to be an author. Um, but as a result of doing that deep dive, as a result of coming back with some pearls of wisdom, I thought, that I began to share that. And that's then the beginning of my career as an author. And in the process, um, the sense that I got was of making soul contact. Now, I think all of us have a sense that we have maybe a soul or a higher consciousness or higher self, um, uh, that but it's out of reach, and we don't pay much attention to it. There's very little said about it in my youth, by teachers, by parents, by spiritual leaders. This whole idea of a soul or higher consciousness part of us, but it was really that made the biggest change in my life was this soul contact. So now I have this best friend, um, my higher self, which I call High C affectionately, um, that is my companion, um, my teacher, um, and guide, and even I sort of get a feeling that it's going before me to smooth out the path and to um, uplift. So I think that's what really the message that I want to offer people is what's available in this lifetime. No need to wait for another lifetime. In this lifetime, it's possible to have a similar experience of awakening and of soul contact and of an uplift in consciousness that makes one's daily life very special. And it's what you were saying earlier. It's sort of a daily life and a spiritual life happening at the same time.
Yeah, that is actually so inspiring. Blair, meditation has become such a buzzword lately. For
Yes.
people listening who feel a bit lost in this noise, how do you personally distinguish true mindfulness from surface level trends online?
Um,
Diba, Vidya?
what I would say about that is that whether it's sit down meditation, which I do, or whether it's mindfulness meditation, which I do also, because I do a sit down meditation in the morning for about 10, 15, 20 minutes. I do a sit down meditation in the evening, 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then throughout the day, I do mindfulness exercises of one sort or another as a way to um, as a way to tune up my consciousness. So the sit down meditation, I go in deep. Um, my particular system called higher consciousness meditation, which is discussed in my meditation book, um, takes you directly to a sense of higher consciousness or awareness or illumination. Um, so I get a sense of I get a feeling of illumination in the morning and in the evening, really sort of up up uplifts my morning in particular. And then throughout the day, I use mindfulness practices of one sort or another. For example, one of the things that one mindfulness practice is various mantras or sayings that you sort of repeat to yourself, like "Peace, be still," which is a good one before you go into any situation that might have some stress. Or if you're feeling stress, you can say to yourself, "Peace, be still." Um, or you can say to yourself, "I am an eternal being." And that uplifts your vibratory frequency and uplifts your consciousness. Um, you can do one of the things that I do, which is to keep this little note card, on my computer, and it says, "Live Christ consciousness." And it's just something to remind me. It's a little trigger to remind me to remember who I am, that I'm not just a human being, but that I'm a spiritual being. Or I put a little angel uh, on my but on the um, frame of my door, going in and out, and I'll touch that little angel going in and out, and that's a reminder. It's a remembering to remember, way of kind of developing a lifestyle, if you will, which is a higher frequency lifestyle, which is a spiritual lifestyle, which is a higher consciousness lifestyle. So that's what I encourage people to do. I offer tools of various sorts that are intended to help people have that experience. And that's what you're really looking for. It's not just theory. It's just not just um, it's not just the words in a spiritual book, but it's the experience that you're looking for. And that's what I offer in my books is tools and various ideas and so forth that are intended to help people have an experience of their spirituality, an experience of their higher consciousness.
That is actually such a refreshing perspective, and mindfulness and as authenticity, not performance. It is actually really nice. So, tell me something. Do you think the pressure to get it right, to feel perfectly calm or empty minded, sometimes creates stress than serenity?
It can, yes, because if you know that what you're after is serenity, and what you get in your meditation practice is a lot of chatter, 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 the and how the mind does. Uh, Thinking about the past, worrying about the future, trying to survive, and you're trying to do meditation, you can't get your mind to quiet down. Just know that the mind doesn't want to quiet down. The mind doesn't want to give up its leadership. It doesn't want to give up that chatter, 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 chatter. So the thing to do is try other um, um, a lot of the meditation practices are intended to try and quieten the mind down or to train the mind, but the mind doesn't want to be trained. That's why I created some of my tools, including higher consciousness meditation, because it bypasses all of that mind chatter and takes you directly to an experience of illumination or of of upliftment. And once you begin to have that, and this takes practice, it's something you have to kind of work at. It doesn't usually happen right away when somebody starts out with it, but it's like anything else, like learning to ride a bike, or when you're a very little child, learning to walk. You have to practice, learning to read, learning to do, all of it takes practice. But if you will stay with it for a while and find something that works for you, because not one way works for everybody. Everybody has their own makeup. So the idea is to find some method, whether it's sit down meditation or whether it's mindful meditation, whether it's mindful meditation where you go out and take a walk in nature, or whether you have little mantras that you say to yourself, or whether you take just a pause for a moment, a breath, and just look around and see what's going on around and appreciate what's going and offer gratitude to what I mean, that's a great, mindfulness practice is gratitude. First thing in the morning, make a list of the things that you're grateful for this morning, and you'll find your vibratory frequency increasing, and that's what you're looking for, is that experience of, upliftment, um, um, uh it and again, there's no substitute for practicing it for a while and trying to find something that works for you, some system, some method, some teacher, something that resonates with you that will work for you.
That is such a refreshing perspective, and perspective is so freeing as mindfulness as permission just to be and not other standards to beat. Beautifully said, Blair. Um, you've often explored the energetic side of consciousness. How, and I'm sorry, you've often explored the energetic side of consciousness. And I know many listeners will be curious about that. How does becoming aware of energy deepen meditation practice?
Well, the awareness of energy is what we're talking about. The
Yeah.
the awareness of that feeling or sense of love in your heart, that feeling of compassion for other, that feeling of, upliftment in consciousness. Um, Sacred music can do that. Um, uh, um, Learning to just take a moment and see the essence of another person using your spiritual eyes instead of your physical eyes, using your spiritual eyes. Um, these are all practices that one can use in order to have that sense of upliftment and energy. And that's what happens. It's energy that's of a higher vibratory frequency. And that's what you're looking for in your meditation practice and in your spiritual practice is a sense of upliftment, um, uh, and engaging in practices that allow that to happen. So I'll listen to some really beautiful music. Beethoven is really fabulous, to listen to in the morning. It's a way of just, oh yeah, this is fabulous. It's like uh, spiritual music came through Beethoven, and and this is true of Ravi Shankar. I mean, amazing guy, and his daughter Nora. I mean, these are all people who have touched into that energy and who share that, and you get a chance to um, uh, pick up on it or or again have that sense of vibratory frequency that you're resonating with a higher level of energy, spiritual energy, universal energy.
That is fascinating. It adds such a subtle but powerful dimension to the practice. So, do these energy shifts shows up physically, or are they more intuitive, or something that unfolds as awareness expands?
I would say both because it starts with expansion of awareness. It starts with that, but you my book, which people can get for free, and we'll put this in the show notes, The Amazing Benefits of Meditation. It has there have been more than 3,000 studies done, scientific studies that show that meditation has a benefit physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So there are lots of diseases that have positively responded to meditation. So that's the physical outward manifestation of that inner experience, um, a healing experience. Um, so I think both are true inside and manifesting outside.
I love that image, like turning our inner instrument until everything outside hums in harmony.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, you are also a poet. And I think that's such a beautiful intersection with mindfulness. How do creativity and meditation complement each other for you?
Poetry just flows. Writing just flows. That creativity just flows. So I was talking about spiritual journaling or spiritual writing. One of the ways that people can get into their creativity is to um, use a meditation practice and just write, free write. Just let words just come flowing through you, and you'll begin to be able to see that, oh, this is not my normal mind. This is my spirit mind that's flowing. This is my so it's really a potential source of creativity for anything, whether it's in business or whether it's in art or whether it's just a personal creativity. Um, being inspired by your higher self, by your soul, is a beautiful form of creativity, and I think that's where um, um, writing or music of a spiritual uh, uh, um, content, that's where it comes. It's like the universe just kind of flows into the musician, or the universe flows into the writer, and it flows out into the world as their expression of creativity. But everybody has that. You just have to begin to tap into it.
That is such a soulful connection. Trust me, where the awareness just effortlessly flows into creation. And very beautifully said. So, would you say that artistic expression like writing, painting, music, teaching can itself become a form of meditation?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. Um, Listening to music, or creating, yourself. Like you said, music, art, I mean, all of that can be a the expression of that feeling or sense or experience that you have, and you don't have to be necessarily good at it. It's just the doing of it and letting it flow through you and onto the paper, or, you know, out into the air, or, um, uh, in any way that you're inclined to express your creativity.
That is so lovely. It reminds me that stillness doesn't always mean silence. Sometimes it's art speaking from quiet inside.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think the best artists, the most famous artists were often inspired by their internal spirituality, and that was just how they expressed themselves, whether it was on in stone, or on paper, or whether it was in um, architecture, or whether it was in cooking. I mean, you know, anything that you do can be something that you do with a spiritual motivation or flow. Um, so, whether it's cooking or eating, I mean, if you take a moment and do a little meditation before you start cooking, you will cook that um, uplifted feeling into the food. And it's, um or if you're just thankful for the supply chain of all the food, or the food itself, or the for that which you're consuming, bless it. Be thankful for it. Um, all of that is a spiritual expression.
Trust me, the way you're saying it, it's actually true. Like your energy radiates into whatever you're planning to do.
Correct.
So now, Blair, like this is for anyone of who is listening and who thinks I just can't meditate. My mind never stops. What would you say to someone who feels that way?
Yes. What I would say to them is get a copy of my book called The Mindfulness Book. And the mindfulness book offers dozens and dozens of different kinds of mindfulness practices that you can choose one that works for you. Because it might be that trying to sit and quieten your mind just doesn't work for you, you know? But it might be that going out and taking a walk in nature is really a better method for you to get in touch with that part of yourself. But that part of yourself wants to express itself, wants to become known to you. All you have to do is begin to open up to it and then find some method that is that resonates with your personality. It doesn't have to be suppressing your mental activity. It can be dozens of other ways that you can find to have the same experience. And again, that's what you're looking for is the experience. Um, so, um, explore is what I would say about that.
That's very comforting. And I think a lot of people listening to you right now, listening to us, will breathe very well easier after hearing this.
Good.
Yeah.
'Cause it should be fun, it should be it should be uplifting. It should be, something that you wanna do over and over and over again as opposed to something that you dread doing and that you find yourself, upset and stressed out about instead of comforted and peaceful.
That's wonderful. So, if someone wants to start small, what's
Yes.
one daily habit or shift that that could help them reconnect with awareness without forcing it, like keeping it
Yes.
fun?
Just learning to pause, take a breath,
Yeah.
glance around, and be grateful for being alive. As simple as that.
Being grateful is one of the most important thing that we should do.
Absolutely. It really raises your vibratory frequency, and, the thing about gratefulness is that it attracts good people, things, and circumstances to you. The law of vibration, the law of attraction is that like attracts like. If you're vibrating at a higher frequency, you're more likely to draw higher frequency circumstances, people, and, things into your life.
Exactly. Very, very wonderful, very beautifully said. It shows that mindfulness isn't about changing who we are, but returning to what's already within us.
Absolutely. That's right. Just, the imprisoned splendor. It's there waiting to come out.
Yeah. So before we close, Blair, where can our listeners find your books, connect with you if they want to learn more?
Yes. You can go to my website, which is Blair Abee, A-B-E-E is the last name, .com, and, uh, um, they can get a free copy of the book. They can get a free copy of some music. They can do a little spiritual quiz, personality quiz to find out what kind of spiritual personality they have. Um, and all of my books are at Amazon. So you can go to Amazon and you can pick up either ebooks or you can get a paperback book. Uh, the meditation book, the mindfulness book, the manifestation book, the benefits of meditation, some journals and workbooks and so forth are available.
Perfect. This is amazing. We will make sure to include all your links so people can explore your mindful world, which is so beautiful.
Well,
So
thank you. I appreciate that.
you're very welcome. What a calming and enlightening conversation, Blair, reminding us that meditation isn't about escaping life. It is about meeting it with clarity, compassion, and curiosity. If today's episode stirred something in you, pause before moving on with your day. Take a breath, notice what it feels to be simply be. That's where transformation begins. You can explore more work of Blair's at blairabee.com. As always, thank you for joining me on Healing Mindset. Until next time, I am Nazish, reminding you to stay curious, stay kind, and keep nurturing your healing mindset, one conscious breath at a time. Thank you so much, Blair, for your time.